Hey guys, welcome back to another atomic lesson by me. Today we're going to be discussing cardiorespiratory fitness and how it relates to VO2 max. To do this, we're going to be discussing the ventilatory threshold and why it's important. So let's get into it. You may be wondering, what is ventilatory threshold? So it refers to the point during exercise at which ventilation starts to increase faster than VO2. It marks the point where oxygen delivery to the muscles becomes essentially a limiting factor. We know that lactate is a byproduct of a lot of aerobic metabolic pathways, and it doesn't really have a good longevity when working out. So when lactate starts to build up in your bloodstream, it becomes very acidic. Your overall body environment becomes very acidic, and this can induce fatigue. That's why we see a lot of people vomit when they are doing exercise at a really intense rate. Their overall body environment becomes really acidic, and then in order to maintain that homeostasis, we throw up to get rid of all that acidicness. So for the average individual, the ventilatory threshold is about 65% of their max, their VO2 max. And then below that threshold, anyone can theoretically work forever, is essentially what that means. But once you get above the threshold, you begin to work anaerobically, so without oxygen, and that's when the timer starts. Obviously, you're not going to be able to sustain that level of intense exercise forever or for very long. And then the point of training and testing VO2 max is to move that threshold to a higher point so you can work harder for a longer period of time. So for example, if you have a threshold put at 75%, they can complete a higher workload for longer periods of time. So basically, when you're trying to do cardiorespiratory fitness and you're trying to increase that, you're going to essentially shift that threshold to 75, 85%, however much of your max. This is super important when evaluating cardiorespiratory fitness because it's a super good indicator of health, and it shows you essentially how your body is utilizing the fuels available. So as we know, we have a lot of metabolic systems when we're undergoing exercise. We can't maintain aerobic exercise for that long because of the lactate buildup, and your muscles aren't efficiently utilizing that oxygen. So that's when we do that shift to anaerobic exercise. I encourage you to go on a run with a friend and then have a conversation, and the point where you cannot maintain the conversation is essentially your ventilatory threshold.